Andre Whitaker didn't argue with doctors' offices unless he had to. Not because he didn't notice mistakes, because he noticed everything, but because he'd learned that the moment you push back in a medical setting, the room changes. Voices get flatter. Smiles turn into tight lines. You stop being a patient and become a problem someone needs to manage. Andre was black, 37, and had spent most of his adult life managing how people read him. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't take up space. He didn't get emotional. He used calm sentences and receipts and dates, the way some people used charm. He treated every interaction with power like a courtroom, because he'd been in too many rooms where truth wasn't enough without documentation. That's why the bill hit him like an insult. It arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in a clean white envelope stamped Ridgeview Internal Medicine. Andre opened it expecting the usual, a small copay adjustment, maybe a lab fee. Instead, the first line made his stomach tighten. Patient responsibility, $842.16. Andre blinked and read it again. $842. For a visit that lasted 22 minutes. He sat down at his kitchen table, the envelope still in his hand. The apartment was quiet, just the hum of the fridge and the soft buzz of a streetlight outside the window. Andre spread the pages flat and forced himself to breathe slowly, the way he did when he felt anger rising too fast. The bill listed 3 line items. Office visit, level 5, new patient. Extended service comprehensive diagnostic review. Andre's eyebrow lifted. Level 5? He hadn't gone in for emergency surgery. He hadn't needed complex decision-making. He'd gone in for a persistent knee pain that flared during runs, something he wanted checked before it became a real injury. The appointment was supposed to be straightforward. He remembered it clearly because he'd planned his day around it. He'd arrived 10 minutes early. He'd filled out the forms on a clipboard that still smelled like disinfectant. A white receptionist with sharp bangs and a thin smile had asked for his ID twice, like the first time didn't count. Then he'd waited. 20 minutes past his appointment time. When he finally got called back, a medical assistant, white woman, early 20s, took his vitals quickly without making eye contact. "What brings you in?" she asked. "Knee pain," Andre said. "Right side, mostly when I run." She typed, nodded, and left him in an exam room with a poster of a skeleton and a trash can lined with a bright blue bag. Andre sat there listening to footsteps in the hall, trying not to think about how often simple turned complicated once money got involved. The doctor came in briskly. White man in his 40s with a clean haircut and the confident posture of someone who never doubted that people would listen to him. His badge read, Dr. Stephen Merrick. Dr. Merrick glanced at Andre's chart, then at Andre's face, then back at the chart. "So," he said, "you're having knee pain." "Yes," Andre replied. "It started about 3 weeks ago. It's not constant, but it gets worse after about 2 miles. Dr. Merrick pressed around Andre's knee for maybe 30 seconds, asked him to bend it, then stood up again. "Any injuries?" Merrick asked. "No," Andre said. "No falls, no accidents." "Weight changes?" Merrick asked, eyes flicking down as if the question answered itself. Andre felt the tiny sting of that look. "No." Dr. Merrick nodded. "Probably overuse, running form, maybe mild inflammation." He recommended rest, ice, anti-inflammatories, and, if it persisted, an X-ray referral. The whole interaction felt like something Andre could have gotten from a pamphlet. Andre had left thinking, okay, fine, routine, which was why the bill didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like a decision. Andre looked again at the first line item. Office visit, level 5, new patient. Andre wasn't a new patient. He'd been to Ridgeview last year for a physical. He had an established chart. He even remembered the nurse complimenting his blood pressure like it was a personality trait. So why were they billing him as new? And level 5, the highest complexity visit, was usually reserved for serious conditions, intense medical decision-making, significant risk. Not, your knee might be inflamed. Andre pulled up his insurance portal and checked the explanation of benefits. It matched the bill, not just an estimated charge. Claim processed. Patient responsibility, $842.16. Andre felt anger press behind his ribs. He forced it back down and did what he always did first. He built a record. He opened a notebook and wrote, "Visit date and time. Complaint, right knee pain during running duration in office, approximately 20 to 25 minutes. No imaging performed, no labs drawn, no procedures beyond basic exam." Then he looked at the bill again and circled the codes next to each line item. They were CPT codes, 5-digit numbers. Andre didn't know them by heart, but he knew enough to recognize when something was off. He Googled nothing. He didn't want random answers. He went to the one thing that mattered, the clinic's itemization and his visit summary. He logged into Ridgeview's patient portal and downloaded the after-visit summary. It said, assessment, knee pain, likely overuse. Plan, rest, NSAIDS, consider imaging if persists, referral PT if worsens. Risk, low risk. Andre stared at the word. Then he looked at the bill again. Level 5. Those two things didn't belong together. He picked up the phone and called the number on the statement. Billing department. A recorded voice thanked him for calling. He waded through 2 menu layers, then hold music that sounded like it was designed to keep you from staying mad. Finally, a person answered. Ridgeview Billing, a woman said, clipped and tired. This is Karen. Andre kept his tone calm. Hi, Karen. I'm calling about a statement for $842.16 for my visit on June. He checked the date. June 14th. The codes billed don't match the visit. There was a pause, keyboard tapping. What's your date of birth? Andre gave it. More tapping. Karen said, flat. I see the claim. It's processed. That's what the system says. Andre felt the familiar tightening in his jaw. He kept his voice even. The system can be wrong. It lists me as a new patient and a level 5 visit. I'm not a new patient, and the visit was low complexity. Karen's tone sharpened slightly, like Andre had stepped out of line. We bill based on what the provider documents. Andre nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Then I want an audit of the CPT codes against the documentation. Karen exhaled loudly into the phone. Sir, we don't do audits because patients disagree with bills. Andre's voice stayed calm. Then call it a coding review. Because the after-visit summary states low risk. That does not support the highest level office visit code. Karen paused. Are you a medical coder? Andre felt the trap. Expertise as a barrier to basic fairness. I'm a patient, Andre said evenly. And I'm allowed to request an itemized bill and a coding review when charges appear incorrect. Karen's voice cooled. The provider selected the codes. If you have a problem, you can take it up with your insurance. Andre's stomach tightened again. My insurance processed what you submitted. That doesn't make it correct. Karen's tone shifted from dismissive to irritated. Sir, you can set up a payment plan if the balance is too high. Andre went still. There it was, the assumption. Not, let's check, not let's verify, just, you can't afford it, so we'll make it easier for you to pay. Andre kept his voice low and controlled. I'm not asking for a payment plan. I'm asking you to correct the billing. Karen sighed. It's correct. Andre asked, calm. Then read me the CPT codes you billed and explain why they apply. Karen paused, then rattled them off quickly like she wanted the words to pass before Andre could catch them. Andre wrote them down. When she finished, he said, "Thank you. Now I want the visit notes that support those codes." Karen's voice snapped. "We don't release medical records through billing." Andre didn't flinch. "Then connect me to someone who can initiate a coding review with the documentation. Because if the documentation doesn't support those codes, this is overbilling." Silence. Then Karen said, clipped, "Hold." The line went to music again. Andre sat very still, pen in hand, staring at the bill like it was a test. He wasn't imagining things. He knew what he experienced in that exam room. He knew what the summary said. He knew the gap between low risk and level 5 wasn't a gray area. It was a canyon. The music stopped. A new voice came on. Male. White. Measured in that way that sounded like authority wrapped in politeness. "This is Brent," the voice said. "Billing supervisor. I'm told you're disputing the coding." Andre kept his tone respectful but firm. "Yes. The visit was billed as a new patient level 5 with additional extended services. My after-visit summary indicates low risk and a simple plan. I'm requesting a CPT code audit against the documentation and a corrected claim if the codes are unsupported." Brent paused, then said, "Our providers code appropriately." Andre replied calmly, "Then it will be easy to verify." Brent exhaled, a small sound of annoyance. "Mr. Whitaker, these codes reflect the provider's time and complexity." Andre's voice stayed steady. "Then provide the time documentation and complexity justification, because the bill is inconsistent with the clinical summary." Brent's tone tightened. "You're making serious accusations." Andre didn't raise his voice. "I'm making a serious request." Another pause. Then Brent said, "We can submit a review request to our coding team. It may take up to 30 days. Andre's jaw tightened again. 30 days. Another delay designed to wear you down. "Still," he said calmly, "submit it and email me confirmation today that the claim is under coding review with the disputed CPT codes listed." Brent hesitated. "We can note it." Andre's tone didn't change. "Email confirmation." Brent's voice went colder. "Fine. We'll send a case number." Andre wrote it down when Brent gave it. When the call ended, Andre didn't feel relief. He felt something else. The weight of knowing he'd have to fight for something that should have been corrected the moment anyone looked at it honestly. He gathered the documents into a neat stack. Bill, EOB, visit summary, his handwritten notes. Then he opened his portal again and requested a copy of the full visit note, doctor's documentation, coding level, time statement, everything that could be used to justify those charges. Because Andre knew how this worked. If someone had chosen to bill him at the highest level, there would either be documentation to match, or there would be proof that the system was being used as cover. And Andre was done being told, "That's what the system says," as if systems were innocent and people weren't the ones typing the numbers in. 2 days later, Andre got the email Brent had promised. Not an explanation, not an apology. Just a sterile subject line and a case number. Coding review request created. Case number C-77419. Andre read it once, then opened his patient portal and checked for the full visit note he'd requested. It was there now. 3 pages of clinical documentation written in that half-template, half-copy-paste style that made every patient sound the same. Andre scrolled slowly, looking for what mattered, the parts that justified the billing level. He found a section titled Time. It read, "Total time spent, 62 minutes. Andre stared at it. 62. He blinked, then reread the line again to make sure he wasn't inventing it. His entire appointment, from the moment he checked in to the moment he walked out, had barely been 40 minutes, and most of that was waiting. The face-to-face time with Dr. Merrick felt like 10 minutes, maybe 12 if you counted the doctor talking while holding the door halfway open. And yet the note claimed 62 minutes of provider time. Andre felt a cold anger settle in his chest. Not hot, not explosive, cold and precise. He scrolled lower. Under medical decision-making, the note listed a long set of reviewed items. Reviewed labs, reviewed imaging, reviewed outside records, considered differential diagnoses, high-risk management. Andre's jaw tightened. There had been no labs, no imaging, no outside records, no high-risk management. His after-visit summary said low risk. So why did the clinical note sound like a complicated case? Andre looked at the bottom of the note for something that often got missed. CPT codes. Submitted. 99205 99354. There it was again. New patient level 5, 99205. And prolonged service, 99354. The same numbers the bill carried. Andre didn't guess anymore. He didn't need to. The documentation was inflated. Or at least, it didn't match what happened. And Andre now had something stronger than a memory, a written record claiming things that weren't true. He took screenshots of the time statement and the medical decision-making section. Then he downloaded the entire PDF and saved it to a folder labeled Ridgeview Billing Dispute. Then he did the next step most people didn't know to do. He requested the itemized bill with CPT codes and the coding worksheet, the internal summary coders use to justify the level, especially for high-level visits and prolonged time. If they refused to provide it, their refusal would become part of the record too. Andre called again. This time he didn't ask for Karen. He asked for the coding department. After 15 minutes, another person answered. "Coding support," a woman said. "This is Patrice." Andre kept his voice calm. "Hi, Patrice. I have an open coding review case, C-77419. I've obtained my visit note. It claims 62 minutes total time and high-complexity decision-making. But my after-visit summary states low risk and no labs or imaging were performed. I need the CPT codes audited and corrected. Also, I'm requesting the itemized statement and any coding summary used to submit 99205 and prolonged services." Patrice paused. "We don't release internal worksheets." Andre didn't argue. "Then provide the basis for billing 62 minutes and a level 5 new patient visit when I'm an established patient." Patrice's keyboard clicked. "You were billed as new because the provider marked you as new." Andre's jaw tightened. "I've been seen there before. My chart exists. That's not new." Patrice hesitated. "The system..." Andre cut in gently, controlled. "The system is only reflecting what was entered. I'm asking you to correct the entry." Patrice's tone cooled. "We can only code what is documented," Andre replied evenly. "Then the documentation is wrong, because it lists labs and imaging that did not occur and a time statement that is not possible." Patrice was quiet a beat. "You're saying the provider note is inaccurate?" Andre didn't raise his voice. "I'm saying it doesn't match reality or the after-visit summary generated from the same visit." Patrice exhaled slowly. "This will need escalation to compliance." Andre's pulse kicked once. Compliance. That word mattered. "Do that," Andre said. "And I want a written acknowledgement that the charges are under audit and my account is placed on hold. No collections, no late fees during the review." Patrice hesitated. "We don't..." Andre's tone stayed calm, but it sharpened. "If you are reviewing whether the submitted codes were correct, you cannot simultaneously threaten collections for the disputed amount. Put the account on hold." Patrice went quiet, then said, "Hold." When Patrice returned, she sounded more careful. "Okay," she said. "I've placed a temporary billing hold for 30 days while compliance reviews the documentation and coding." Andre exhaled slowly. "Thank you. Email that confirmation." "We will," Patrice said. Andre continued, still calm. "Now here are the exact discrepancies I want addressed in the audit." He listed them cleanly, like bullet points in a report. New patient code used though he is established. Time statement claims 62 minutes of provider time. Prolonged service code submitted without verifiable start/stop times. Medical decision-making indicates labs/imaging reviewed that did not exist. After visit summary states low risk, inconsistent with level 5. Patrice didn't interrupt. She just listened. When Andre finished, she said, "Noted." Andre ended the call and sat still for a moment, letting the adrenaline settle. He wasn't proud he had to do this. He was angry that he had to. 3 days later, another email arrived. This one wasn't from billing. It was from Ridgeview Compliance and Patient Financial Services. The subject line was different, less confident. "Claim correction in progress." Andre opened it and read the first sentence twice. "We have identified inconsistencies between the documentation and the CPT codes submitted for your visit." There it was. Not disagree, not policy. Inconsistencies. The email continued. The claim would be resubmitted with corrected coding, and he would receive an updated statement after insurance reprocessing. Andre didn't relax yet. He wanted numbers. He called once more, this time the compliance number in the email. A man answered, voice professional and cautious. "This is Aaron, with Patient Financial Compliance." Andre kept his voice calm. "Hi, Aaron. I received an email about inconsistencies and a claim correction. Can you tell me which CPT codes are being removed and what they will be replaced with?" Aaron typed. "The new patient level 5 is being changed to an established patient office visit at a lower level, and the prolonged services code is being removed." Andre's jaw unclenched slightly. "Good. And the time statement?" Aaron hesitated. "The provider is updating the note." Andre replied evenly. "I want that in writing too, because inaccurate documentation is part of what caused the overbilling." Aaron paused. "We can note that the provider amended the record." "Do it," Andre said. 2 weeks later, Andre's insurance portal updated. The original claim disappeared, and a corrected claim appeared in its place. Patient responsibility, $68.40. Andre stared at the new number for a long moment. Not because $68 made him happy. Because the difference between $842 and $68 wasn't a small mistake. It was the difference between routine care and financial harm. Andre printed the corrected EOB and put it in his folder. Then he sat back and let himself feel the quiet kind of victory that didn't look like celebration. Just the sense of being right in a world that often punished you for insisting on it. He didn't win because someone suddenly decided to be fair. He won because he forced the codes, the cold, impersonal numbers, to face an audit. And the audit did what the front desk and billing script refused to do. It admitted the truth.